We are live. So, even
Live
though
and in
we are
person.
a little bit, I am. I'm a little bit distant, disorganized tonight. So,
Hey, if
well,
any,
I
hey,
think the thing that
if anyone has watched this show before and expects us to be on time every week, then they're in the wrong place.
yeah. Well, we should have been. Like I said, I was just trying to make sure I got some P's and Q's done before I got on here. So
It's not that big of a deal.
and then I forgot my music. So the intro music. So there's that.
They can just hum it in their head. They know it by now.
Here it is. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah. They should anyway. If you've been watching it long enough, you do.
Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It shouldn't be new. It shouldn't be new.
Yeah. But anyway, I went to print my stuff off, and then I got halfway done, and then my printer ran out of ink. Of course, that's always good. So
naturally.
Naturally.
Well,
the funny thing is it said it still had a bar left, but then it wouldn't print nothing. So, evidently not.
I guess that bar is the order more ink bar.
Yeah,
must be.
They should have warned me a little bit before time of saying, "Hey, I'm out." But
yeah, you would think.
Anyway, welcome to another week of Metalheads Unite. If you are looking at us, we have the ticker at the bottom here now, and it's got the radio station there, where we actually have a internet radio station now. So we are hooked up with putting a lot of playlists and stuff together to get on there. So I think there's over 1,000 songs there already, or maybe close to it. I had to go back and count, but I've been like steadily putting stuff on there this week. So I think I put like a 70 something on yesterday, or 80 or something. I don't know. It was something crazy. Almost 100 yesterday. So and then I was downloading some more before I got on here. So I'll probably throw them on there when we get done. So definitely growing there. So
we're definitely off to a good start.
You should be able to drive. Yeah. Should be able to drive cross country without listening to a repeat for too long. So
that would definitely be the goal, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the goal is the goal is not to, the goal is not to hear a repeat that often. I mean, that will actually keep people listening because they don't know what's playing. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Make sure. Yep. Make sure you guys, if you guys got any requests, make sure you get them in. Send us a message. Metalheads Unite USA at gmail.com probably be the quickest way, because I mean we check the email every day, but I mean if you at the same time, if you guys are members of any of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, if you're a member of the Facebook group, there's definitely plenty of ways you can get a hold of us. But for anybody who's seen the show and isn't following us on any of the socials, the Gmail address is definitely there. So I check it. I check it at least once a day, if not more. So you guys got any requests for the radio station, get them in. We promise we will get your requests on the station.
Yeah. Not sure when it will play, but it'll be in the
it'll be on the list. It'll be in there.
Once we get everything kind of going, I guess we can try to set aside a time frame during a week where we can actually do some live DJing. But right now it's taking enough of my time trying to get all this stuff compiled and put on there. So
right.
Once we get there, it may take a few weeks, but we'll get there eventually. So that's another thing I wanted to do a new music segment on there. But like I said, right now it's just not the time's just not there for all of it. So, but like I said, once we get through getting a lot of it up, then we'll go from there. So.
The good thing is, I was going to say, the good thing is after all the talk of us getting this started, we finally do have it started. So, I mean, the hardest part really is done. So, thankfully.
Yeah. So, And then also, if you are watching us, you may notice there's a new little ticker down there as well. It's a ticker introducing our merch store that is now open. That's at www.metalheadsuniteusa.com. You can go over there and see what we have. I got a few things up. I'm still adding stuff to that as well. So between my full time job and this, I feel like I'm working 2 full time jobs. But
Right. Yeah.
but once we get it going, it'll be a lot easier to maintain. So that's
Yep.
the hard part's getting it going. So.
Oh yeah, the startup is always
Right,
the startup is always the hardest part for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so, but anyway, I guess we'll kick this bad boy off like always with some birthday shout outs from June 17th up until today, 23rd. June 17th, we had Michael Monroe. He's a vocalist for Hanoi Rocks. June 18th, we had Wes Arkeen, guitarist and songwriter for Guns N' Roses. He unfortunately passed away in 1997. We also had Darren Dizzy Reed, keyboardist for Guns N' Roses. And we had Oz Fox, guitarist for Striper. There's one of those band members with the same birthdays there. It's kind of odd.
Yep. Talked about it
which
last
I don't
week.
know if they actually, yeah, but I don't think they actually played together because I think Wes Arkeen was probably after Dizzy. I think Dizzy was on like the first record. I think he was kind of gone by the time Use Your Illusions came around. So
I think you're right. Yeah.
And then June 19th, we had Ann Wilson, of course, vocalist for Heart, Simon Wright, drummer for AC/DC from 83 to 89, and then Dio from 89 to 91. So he didn't lack no power from bands, that's for sure. He was in 2 of the most well-known bands at that time. So then we had Brian Head Welch, guitarist for Korn and Love and Death. And then we had Tia at Slaughter, manager and merch person for Fight From Within. Thanks to them for shouting her out on their socials, or I would not have known. So, wanted to give them a shout out anyway. So, I mean, it's cool. Like if these bands are giving their due to the people that make them who they are,
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Like, Non-Point's big about that. I've seen a couple other bands that are big about that kind of stuff. So, hell, I mean, Dave Mustaine brought out his guitar tech or whatever for what 20 years or whatever it was.
Yeah, gave him that super duper expensive bottle of like I can't even remember what liquor it was, but I'm sure it wasn't cheap.
No, it wasn't cheap because it was imported, I'm sure. Anyway, June 20th, we had Michael Anthony, bassist for Van Halen. We had Bernadette Kelly Johnson, guitarist for Girl School, passed away in 2007. Jordy White, bassist for Marilyn Manson, and then Chino Marino, vocalist and lyricist for Deftones. June 21st, we had Joey Kramer, drummer for Aerosmith. Then we had Kip Winger, vocalist and bassist for Winger. And then I'm going to kill this name, but I will apologize. Sasha Konetsko, vocalist for KMFDM. June 22nd, BC Cockmit, guitarist for Non-Point from 2014 to 2019. And then June 23rd, which is today, we had Chuck Billy, vocalist for Testament, Joey Allen, guitarist for Warrant from 87 to 94, and then rejoined in 2004 to the present. And we had Frederick Leclerc, probably killed that name too, but
no, you didn't.
Bassist for I didn't. Oh,
nope.
That's awesome.
No, you didn't.
I'm one of 1,000. He was a bassist for Creator and X Dragon Force. Glenn Danzig, vocalist for Danzig Misfits, and Sam Hain. That was all of the birthdays that I could dig up. Anyway, also wanted to give a shout out to one of our group members out there. Brian Davis had a birthday today, so happy birthday to you.
That's right.
And then I don't know if you got any more personal ones, but
I don't believe I do this week.
All right.
Want to give
my nephew Johnny Graham had a birthday as well. So
see, there you go.
So, But he don't do social anything, so
Oh,
he'll probably never hear it, but that's okay.
Yeah. And then want to give a quick shout out to Blighted Plague Doctor in the chat. Welcome to the show. Appreciate it.
Cool. All right, that was the birthdays. Happy birthday to all of those. All of those listening out there had a birthday this week. Happy birthday to you. And we will kick on into the metal news of the week.
Metal news of the week. Yes. All right. Starting off this week over at blabbermouth.net. Over at blabbermouth.net. Nightwish has canceled its June 22nd appearance at the Tons of Rock Festival in Oslo, Norway. Of course, that was yesterday. We're aware of that. Jason posted this in the Facebook group earlier this week. Earlier on Wednesday, the band released the following statement via social media, quote, due to circumstances concerning Nightwish singer Floor Jansen's health, we're unfortunately forced to cancel our show in Oslo on the 22nd of June. Floor's pregnancy is totally unaffected, and she heads home for some much-needed rest. Even though all 6 of us are gutted over this decision, it was an easy one to make, as health must always come first. On a more positive note, the rehearsals and recordings of the new album begin in less than 2 weeks, so onwards, end quote. Nightwish played its last concert before its upcoming break from touring this past Saturday, June 17th, at Lemonsoft Stadion in Vasa. Fan film video of that show can be seen below. So if you go over to Blabbermouth and go to the story, you can check that out below. That is on there. And let's see, a couple more news notes in here. They do have the new album scheduled for sometime in 2024, along with 3 music videos. Interestingly enough, the band has already made the decision to not tour on the new album. So they didn't exactly say why, but it's one of those things in the story where they said that they came to a decision as a group. So in 24 they'll have a new album, but who knows when they'll actually be out on the road again. We do know by now, if you don't know by now, Floor Jansen is pregnant with Jannis Van Daal's baby. Jannis Van Daal is the bass player for Sabaton. They've been I don't know how long they've been together, but they've been together long enough that this is going to be their second child. Their first child is 6 years old.
Yeah. So, at least 10 months.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So they've been together for a little while. So they are expecting their second child. So
I said that I don't know how far along she is, so it may not even be that long. So,
yeah. So they were about to go on hiatus anyway because of Floor Jansen's pregnancy. So this week was going to be the end of their touring anyway, coming off of their Human Nature album. So it was going to happen anyway. But like they said in the story, everyone's health is first and foremost, especially Floor's, since she is expecting. So if and when Nightwish decides to get back out on tour, we will definitely let you know. But it's looking like it's probably not going to be at least in the next 12 to 18 months. So who knows? But personally, I'm looking forward to the new album. So
awesome. All right, I guess I will kick them off from this one's from Loudwire. So Rage Against the Machine members Tom Morello and Zach De La Rocha are among the 100 artists who have lent their backing to a boycott of venues that are employing facial recognition technology, saying that they feel the tech being implemented at these venues infringes upon the privacy of the concert going public and has also shown discrimination towards certain individuals and alarming rate of inaccuracy. If this sounds familiar, it's because Morello was among the musicians who first raised concerns about the facial recognition technology at a concert venues back in 2019, when he joined with fellow musicians in lending their support to the Fight for the Futures awareness campaign, calling out the dangers of implementing this technology at the shows. The guitarist also co-authored a BuzzFeed News that laid out some of the key talking points, with the campaign initially making a dent in getting a major music festival events to back off of the idea of implementing the tech, and Ticketmaster to distance themselves from one of the tech companies. But the time has passed, and the implementation of facial recognition technology at concert venues has not been dissuaded. So the fight for the future digital rights ad, advocacy group golly, has stepped up their efforts, now calling the artists, venues, and fans to call for a boycott of those using the technology. An online petition is circulating detailing some of the dangers while also providing the wording for artists, venues, and fans to join the boycott. In addition to Morello and De La Rocha, other artists have signed on include Morello, Street Sweeper, Social Club, Cohorts, Boots Riley, Wheatus, Jill Sobul, Anti Flag, Durhoof, Bedouin. I don't know if that's right or not. I don't know how you would pronounce that, but that's what it looks like. Yacht, Speedy Ortiz, War on Women, and over 100 acts in total. The petition also features 25 music venues that have vowed to keep the facial recognition tech out of their entertainment spaces as well. Why is a boycott being called for? Per the petition, there are four main reasons that people should be concerned about the usage of the facial recognition tech. They include it exasperates discrimination. The petition alleges that facial recognition enables stores, businesses, and law enforcement to track and target specific individuals and communities with absolutely no oversight or accountability. Given existing structures of discrimination that shape society and institutions like the police, we know that that advanced surveillance tools like facial recognition will only fuel existing harms against communities of color and marginalized groups, they add. It also chills free speech. The petition notes that the police have already used facial recognition to identify and target people in Black Lives Matter demonstrations. This violates protesters' rights and fundamentally threatens democracy by, making people too afraid to participate in social movements. The use of facial recognition by business owners will have similar chilling effects, for example, by discouraging employees filing sexual harassment or racial discrimination complaints. It's not secure. The petition suggests that once our biometric information is collected and stored in databases, it's an easy target for identity thieves or state sponsored hackers. Successful attacks have already happened, and the petition predicts that this will only grow more commonplace as government and private use of this technology expands. It doesn't work. The petition claims that the facial recognition programs identify the wrong person up to 98% of the time. I don't think it's that high, but these areas have real world impacts, including harassment, wrongful imprisonment, and deportation. Uh, The petition adds a recent study in Georgetown University's Center for Privacy and Technology found that the face recognition doesn't work well enough to reliably serve the purposes for which law enforcement agencies themselves want to use it. Because the tech constantly misidentifies people, they add that it actually puts people in danger of bodily and psychological harm through false arrest and police violence and so forth, and does nothing to keep people safe. While the boycott may impact venue decisions concerning using the tech, the petition also states that ultimately they also need lawmakers to get involved to protect the concert going audience, from facial recognition technology. They note federally lawmakers have introduced the Facial Recognition and Biometric Technology Moratorium Act, which would protect people across the U.S. from government and law enforcement use. But there hasn't been a federal bill to address how private companies use the technology, so continued vigilant pressure on the issue remains of vital importance. What are the pledges? The artist pledges per the petition states we want everyone to feel safe and welcome at our shows, so we commit to not allow venues to use invasive surveillance tech like facial recognition at shows we play by updating our rider to require this or boycotting venues that won't accommodate this request. The venue pledge asks we want everyone to feel safe and welcome at shows, so we commit to not using invasive surveillance tech like facial recognition at our venue. Fans are also allowed to sign the pledge with a desire to hold venues and artists accountable for playing shows at places that employ facial recognition technology by boycotting such shows. You can read more about the petition and sign up via the fan pledge if you feel moved to do so at www.banfacialrecognition.com/venues. So there you go. So I don't know. I haven't ever been to a venue that actually did that, so I would have no idea how to, what my thoughts would be on that.
Yeah, as far as I know, I haven't either. So
Yeah, I do know the facial recognition thing had a lot of, Amazon pulled out from doing a lot of that because of it misidentifying people. So, or maybe it didn't. I don't know because we had a big stink. I remember because it identified a judge as being a criminal. So I mean, uh, but
well, I mean,
that could very well be true though. Is what I'm saying. Like, I mean,
it very well could. Very well could. Who knows? All right. Staying over at blabbermouth.net, and we have Clutch bassist Dan Maines was forced to sit out some of the shows on the band's ongoing European tour in order to attend to family matters. His temporary replacement was Brad Davis of Fu Manchu. On Wednesday, June 21st, Clutch shared a photo of the band with Davis and included the following message, quote, "We'd like to thank our friend Brad Davis of Fu Manchu for filling in on the bass while Dan is at home attending to family matters. Brad played great and made us laugh. Thank you, Brad," end quote. Clutch recently announced the third leg of its No Stars Above U.S. tour with support from Giovanni and the Hired Guns and Mike Dillon and Punkadelic. A month earlier, Clutch will also embark on a North American headlining tour with support from Dinosaur Jr. and Red Fang. So, we talked about this not too long ago with Gary Holt taking some time away from Exodus because his brother got hit by a car in France. So, it's good that, I mean, obviously whatever Dan Maines has going on with his family, I mean, I hope it's nothing serious, and hopefully everything turns out well and everyone is healthy and is able to get on with their day-to-day lives and Dan can get back to the band. But it's good that he was able to go ahead and tend to whatever family matters he's got going on, and that Clutch was able to find someone to step in so the tours could go on and everything. So obviously everything worked out for the band, so hopefully everything works out for Dan and his family. So we'll keep you guys posted on that going forward.
All right, my next one is over at Metal Hammer. Us metalheads can be a finicky breed, be it frothing at the mouth over whether someone should really be considered metal or not in comment sections, or having elaborate discussions over the quality of new releases. It's fair to say we are an impassioned bunch. That what can we say? We all like having opinions. A good example of this critical zealousness features on a Reddit hardcore forum where fans list the bands they avoid listening to purely based off a dislike for their names. The message board question poses, what band did you procrastinate listening to because you were turned off by their name? Were you pleasantly surprised when you gave them a chance? And which bands lived up to their crappy name? At this time of writing, there's been over 400 responses with many amusing entries of metalheads listing bands with monikers that they initially found off-putting. We get it, though. A band called Diarrhea Planet won't be for everyone, but and such a name doesn't really reflect what they sound like either. As such, one musician in the forum writes, not hardcore, but I was in a band in my 20s and we almost turned down opening for Diarrhea Planet because we hated the name so much. Ended up being some of the coolest guys in the world. Uh, Other band names include Every Time I Die, which a fan declared that they thought their name sounded like a generic metalcore. Thankfully, after I finally listened to them, they became their favorite band. So that's pretty cool. At least that come out as a positive, because that's Every Time I Die is a damn good band. So there's also Jail, purely because it made someone think of the hair product, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, presumably because it's quite a silly name, and the Misfits, with one user writing, not just the name in the 80s, I thought the whole Misfits aesthetic was silly, and I did not like the kids who wore their stuff. So I was into punk hardcore for a few years before I even tried listening to them. Another user listed Party Cannon, which we also totally get. Sounds like the name of a fairy dress shop. Plus, their rainbow bubble font logo isn't particularly very metal. I thought they had a dumb name and a dumb logo. A Metalhead writes. Then I listened to them and realized that I was the dumb one. They kick ass. So yeah, there you go. The most surprising band on the list, however, has to be Korn. While the commenter doesn't give an actual reason, we can kind of see why someone might put off by the name alone, with the moniker essentially being a misspelled vegetable. so kind of a crazy there that we said this before too, is like the community's kind of silly sometimes with stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
and the whole oh, well, name five songs by Metallica if you wear the shirt, like all that kind of stupid shit. uh, but yeah, so there you go. So if you want to see that, you can run over to Reddit and see the whole thread there. But that was part of it. So.
Well, with over 400 responses, I can imagine there's quite some interesting ones over there, aside from the ones
Oh,
that
I'm
were in the
sure. Oh yeah.
story.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I
I'd
don't
be
doubt it.
surprised if Pussifer wasn't in that. Pussifer wasn't in that list.
Yeah,
But, so,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. I may have to check that out just to see the
yeah.
responses.
Well, I
The
mean,
funny thing,
you kind of did something like that one time on the show, a while back. Listed a bunch of bands that were kind of odd named.
yeah, but I listened to them because of their odd name, not
Right.
avoided them because of it. But yeah, the whole there were a few EPs that I listened to because there was I can't remember it was I think the name of the either the band is called Laces Out, or the EP was called Laces Out,
Oh
and
yeah, the EP was Lisa's out. Yeah.
the EP was Laces Out. Okay, so then
Yeah.
the name of the group was Roger Podactor, who
Oh
is
no,
a
maybe it was the other way around.
it may have
Let
been
me
the
look
other
at
way
that real
around.
quick.
May have been the other way around. But anyway, the album and the band name were direct tie-ins to Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Because Laces Out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Roger
Yeah.
Podactor was
Yeah.
the
The band was Lisa's out. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So I had to listen to it uh, just because of the name. And then earlier this year, I listened to the EP by He Shimon. Just
Yeah.
be, and the funny thing is that was back in January, and I listened to that, and it was actually all right. It wasn't bad. And then back in February, I listened to an EP by Iron Asparagus,
Oh
and
yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
yeah, and that was actually pretty good too. So that's the thing is I can't think of any band that I've avoided listening to just because their name, but like you and I just said, there are
Mm-hmm.
bands that I have listened to because the name actually intrigued me. So,
Yeah.
I've
Well, no,
kind of
I remember. No,
done
I
the
remember
opposite.
you. I'm talking about. I remember you doing this kind of segment on the show of like some weird name bands. Like you did like a whole list of like some weirdly named bands.
I I I vaguely
Yeah.
do remember that, but I
Yeah.
can't remember. I can't remember who all. I'd have to go back and look that up. I'm
Oh
sure.
no, I don't remember who I was. I don't remember who I was.
Yeah, I would have to look that up, but yeah.
There was a lot of them. So.
Oh, yeah, sure, I don't.
Uh,
Oh, wait. Hang on a second. I may look that up because I remember it was our first um list of the week list. It was the very first one I put together.
oh, okay.
That's right. Yeah, I remember now. I probably do have that somewhere. But
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
well, I'm sure I do. I'm sure I have it saved somewhere. But yeah, there were some pretty interesting ones. All right, going over to the PRP for my next couple, and if you're in the Facebook group, then I guarantee you guys saw these because we posted these over at the Facebook group this week, and I know that Dana at Metal and Tats had at least one of these two. So, but anyway, over at the PRP, definitely great news for all of us thrash fans. Bay Area thrash legends Testament have announced that Nuclear Blast have acquired the band's catalog in its entirety and are lining up a series of reissues. The first fruit born out of this new arrangement is the arrival of the band's 1987 debut album Legacy and its 1988 follow-up The New Order, having landed on leading digital service providers, meaning that it's now on Spotify and Pandora and all that good shit, Apple Music, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Also covered in the new arrangement, and this is so what I'm looking forward to, is the band having signed on to release 3 more albums through the label. Vocalist Chuck Billy stated, quote, "After a long history of making music and Testament teaming up with Nuclear Blast in 2008 with the formation of Damnation to the current release Titans of Creation, we have taken it to the next level and have reclaimed our 6 albums from Atlantic Records and have delivered them to Nuclear Blast to be re-released. Along with the Atlantic catalog, Testament will sign a new 3-album deal with NB Worldwide. We are so grateful to be with the best heavy metal label in the world that will spread Testament's legacy," end quote. Guitarist vocalist Eric Peterson added, we signed with NB back in '08, and it had been a perfect fit for us ever since then. Incidentally, our catalog with Atlantic Records, The Legacy, The New Order, Practice What You Preach, Souls of Black, The Ritual, and Low, have returned to us, and we feel it's a great new start to have NB release these albums again with some new unreleased artwork, photos, etc. Also, we will be signing a new 3-album deal with them, so the future of metal is looking very, very bright. Cheers, end quote. And thank you very much for all that.
Yeah.
I am so excited. I am so jacked for that. So excited for that.
Yeah. Well, at least we know we got 3 more coming at least. So
yes,
that's always good.
Yeah.
All right, this one over from Blabbermouth. Striper frontman Michael Sweet has opened up about his latest health scares, including issues with his vision and a growing nodule on his thyroid. Earlier on Thursday, June 22nd, the 59-year-old vocalist and guitarist who resides in Massachusetts took to his social media to write, quote, "Hello, my friends. I'm not one to post every little detail about my private life and or my health, but I do, however, believe in the power of prayer. So I wanted to ask you all to say a few prayers for me over the next few weeks. First, I've had a few nodules on my thyroid for a few years now," he continued. "This is fairly common, yet it can and will have an effect on the voice and can cause issues over time. One of the nodules on the right side has basically remained the same size. The left side, however, has grown quite a bit over the last few years, so I'm having a biopsy procedure done next Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Second, my left good eye, he has good in the parentheses. So he said my left good eye, it had 2 retinal tears when my right eye detached back in November of 2021. I think I remember doing that story.
I remember that too.
Yeah, they lasered those T's to keep them from tearing anymore and causing a detachment in that eye. Unfortunately, my vision has progressively gotten worse in that eye and now is extremely foggy or cloudy. I had a checkup yesterday, and the good news is my right eye, which is the bad eye, is looking pretty good." Sweet added, the bad news is my left eye, the good eye, is not. The doc wants to see me in a few weeks to have another look, and if there's no improvement, I'll need surgery, vitrectomy on that eye to remove blood, scarring, and fluid floaters. I appreciate your prayers, and I'm grateful that I can ask, end quote. So there you go. Believe in the power of prayer. Just keep Michael in those. So
yep. And between him and Oz Fox, Striper's had a lot of health issues over the last few years. All right.
Okay, what'd you say? Between him and Oz Fox?
I said between Michael and Oz Fox. I mean, Striper's had quite the not injury, but quite the illness situation going on over the last few years. Oz Fox had to have brain surgery and all that shit. So,
these guys aren't getting, these guys are getting up there. So,
that's true. That's true. They are.
It's one of the things we talk about. These are guys that we grew up watching. So,
yep. Sure.
Even Testament, and we were just talking about Testament. They're just in the same category. I think Chuck Billy turned 60, 2, 3, something like I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I seen that. And I'm like, wow, really? It's like,
yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he can't be the 41-year-old guy anymore because that's how we are.
Right. Yeah, you're not lying. But you are not kidding.
You definitely see those things. You're like, wow, really? Then it makes you think how old you are, and you're like, oh wait, yeah, I guess so. I'm this old. So.
Yeah, you're like, well, yeah, that definitely tracks. All right. Still at the PRP. This is another one we're super excited about. Veteran thrash metal outfit Exodus have announced their worldwide signing with Napalm Records. The group will be issuing their eventual 12th studio album through that label in the future, with more news to come. For now, Gary Holt commented, quote, "Exodus are extremely excited to announce that we are joining the family at Napalm Records. It's time for a new chapter for the band, and we are stoked to be joining the label and are starting to put our foot on the gas and get ourselves prepared for the next record. They convinced us with their passion and love for the band and where we will be going in the future. We couldn't say no. It's time to push even further and not only continue to run right over people with our brand of thrash. It's time to increase the body count. Here's to new beginnings with Napalm Records," end quote. So there we go. We got Testament and Exodus. Testament and Exodus on new labels. Well, Testament has been on Nuclear Blast. It's just now
Right.
All of Testament is on Nuclear Blast. But, you know, couple of our all-time favorite thrash bands are working on new music. So, 2024 will not be slowing down at all, and we are not complaining one bit.
Nope.
Not at all.
All right. Let's see. This one over from Metal Sucks. So this one kind of goes off of some stories we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. So after an extremely eventful few days for Slipknot in the first week of June, that included the since deleted announcement that longtime keyboardist Craig Jones had left the band, a photo of a mystery member, a weird teaser trailer, and a new EP. There hasn't been a lot of chatter coming from the masked None. Now the frontman Corey Taylor has spoken a bit to Finnish publication Chaos Zine about Slipknot's newest member, which leads us to believe that he might not actually be new via Blabbermouth. Obviously, anytime you have a change like that, it makes you have to kind of lean into adversity a little bit. We took a little bit more time to kind of figure things out. Obviously, him being a new guy, he's good. He's really good. He's a total musician, but it took him a second to kind of find his way. But now he's killing it, and now he's really, really good. The way Taylor describes the new member makes it seem like he's had more time to acclimate to the band than just the last 2 weeks. One possible theory is that Jones didn't actually leave the band and is just changing his character and look for further anonymity. There are other theories about what the identity of the mysterious member could be, with one Reddit user making the case for the member of Forgotten 2000's new metal band. During the same interview, Taylor talked about doing shows next year to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Slipknot's debut album. Quote, right now, Slipknot's kind of wrapping things up a little bit. Next year, I know we're talking about doing a handful of shows all over the world because it's going to be the 25th anniversary of the first album. Now, don't quote me on that. Best way to make God laugh is to announce your plans out loud. But that's what we're hinting at. It's what we are talking about, end quote. So, yeah, kind of still... I don't know. Still kind of like, we don't kind of know what's going on with all the Craig Jones thing. So, which is still kind of frustrating, I guess, as a fan, because you kind of want to know, where they're headed and all that good stuff. But I mean, it could very well be an issue like that where they're just, what they call
Yeah, that's true.
So Corey Taylor would kind of be that guy to do something like that too. So.
Yeah, you really would. And then it just comes off as a swerve at the end. You know what I mean?
Well, that was my last story. I had some headlines, but that was my last full story. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then let me try to kind of power through these here. All right. Back over to blabbermouth.net. Not Blabbermouth. Blabbermouth. Yeah. Blabbermouth.net. I had it right the first time. Portraits of Rainbow, the Dio Years book, is a photographic celebration of Ritchie Blackmore's supergroup formed in 1975 by the guitarist as he left Deep Purple and recruited 4 members of the band Elf, including singer Ronnie James Dio. However, the band really took off when Blackmore recruited Cozy Powell, Jimmy Bain, and Tony Carey and recorded the seminal album Rising in 1976. Sounds writer Jeff Barton remembers, quote, I marveled at the first Thunder and Maelstrom depicted on the cover, a pulse-pounding painting by Ken Kelly of Kiss and Manowar. Excuse me. I also offered the following description of the album's musical content, thermonuclear rock and roll, end quote. Rainbow were underway, and although this less commercial variant of the band that went on to conquer the rock world in the 80s was relatively short-lived, it remains for most fans the definitive sound and image of Rainbow, with a combination of Blackmore, Dio, and Powell creating a powerful progressive rock band. It all came to an end in 1979 when Ritchie decided to take the band in a new, more commercial direction. The book features hundreds of classic and unseen, carefully restored black and white images of Rainbow at play and playing live at a series of stunning, unforgettable shows. Wendy Dio has also supplied a range of personal, candid shots from this time. Legendary writer and journalist Jeff Barton has written an introductory text based on his professional experience with Ritchie and the band in the 1970s. This book is 230 millimeters square, case-bound, 240 pages, printed on luxury 170 GSM matte-coated paper. The book comes with a fold-out poster and is presented in a black slipcase with a gold foil logo. The main edition comes in 666 numbered copies and sells for £55 plus shipping. The first 200 orders ship with a free white Strat Jeepin badge worth £6.95. In addition to this, a much larger ultra limited leather and metal edition featuring 375 millimeter square and presented in a recycled leather and a hand welded aluminum metal slipcase with a screen printed logo in a run of 50 numbered copies. This will sell for £500 and includes a free replica of the Pirate Sound t-shirt worn by band members at the time. The books will go on sale on Friday, June 23rd. Hey, that's today at 3 p.m.
Yep.
UK time and will feature a 10% pre-order discount if ordered by July 31st, 23. The books will ship worldwide September of 2023. So there you go. All you Rainbow Dio fans got something to look forward to.
Another thing, since you were talking about Dio, I seen a headline where Ronnie James Dio almost did the lead vocals for Sweet. I was like,
no.
Right. So, man, that would have been a whole different band with him at the helm of it. So,
All right, so let's see. Moving on real quick. Let's see. Staying over at Blabbermouth. On August 18th, Slipknot's Live at MSG, which was originally made available as a bonus disc with the 10th anniversary edition of All Hope Is Gone in 2018, will be released for the first time ever on vinyl to celebrate the 15th anniversary of All Hope Is Gone. Slipknot has always bent the world to its own collective will. One of countless examples occurred on February 5th of 2009 when the band did what few could have predicted when they'd started. Slipknot headlined the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. The band's MSG set is now the stuff of legend, being on the heels of the band's first #1 album in the U.S., All Hope Is Gone, and only months before they would headline the UK's Download Festival for the first time. The New York City show was 8 months and 9 countries into the All Hope Is Gone world tour, and as such, their performance was ruthless and jaw-dropping and a perfect document of the era for the band. The Live at MSG vinyl release will feature new art by Slipknot's percussionist and visual mastermind, M. Sean Clown Crahan. The limited edition custom colored vinyl was hand-selected by the band. The variants are as follows. All retail in black, Knotfest exclusive 1, Coke bottle clear with silver splatter, Knotfest exclusive 2, light blue with silver splatter, D2C direct to consumer exclusive 1, clear with silver splatter, direct to consumer exclusive 2, lemonade with silver splatter, direct to consumer 3, black ice with silver splatter. So there you go. Doesn't say how. It actually doesn't say how much it's going to be, which is weird. So I don't know if I find that out, I'll let you guys know. But I'm kind of surprised it's not in the story. All right, headed back over to the PRP. August 22nd has been set as the release date for the new Metalocalypse animated film, Metalocalypse: Army of the Doomstar. That new feature-length spin-off of the Adult Swim series was written and directed by Metalocalypse co-creator Brendan Small. It will be made available on digital and Blu-ray formats on that date. The official trailer for that film debuted online today and can be viewed below. Of course, that was 2 days ago, so I mean it's been out for a couple days. Per an official press release, the film will feature the following plot. Quote, after the heroic rescue of Toki Wartooth, Death Clock frontman Nathan Explosion finds himself traumatized in a brutal, professional, and romantic flat spin, all while he is tasked with fulfilling the prophecy and confronting the ultimate songwriting challenge, write the song of salvation and save the planet. Can Nathan Explosion look beyond his brutally damaged ego to save his band, stop the Metalocalypse, and finally face the ultimate evil Salacia, end quote. Numerous metal stars appearing in the film will appear in the film. Slow down and read, Chris. King Diamond, Kirk Hammett, Scott Ian, and Amy Lee, just to name a few. 2 new albums from the real-life incarnation of Death Clock will be arriving in conjunction with the film. First up is the band's new album, Death Album 4, which will also see a release on August 22nd. You can pre-order that here, hyperlink in the story. The soundtrack to the film, featuring the score and additional tracks from the outfit, will emerge a few days later on August 25th. The song Aortic Desecration from Death Album 4 is first up to bat. A lyric video for it has just been released, with the song serving as the first new music from the group in nearly a decade. Death Clock will also be mounting a co-headlining tour with Baby Metal this summer and fall, dates for which can be found below. That run will find All That Remains guitarist Jason Richardson opening. And we've already talked about those dates once. There is a Nashville date on September 5th. And I've already seen the lyric video for the new single. Mm-hmm. And it's actually pretty badass. So,
yeah. And the new single is also on our playlist this week. So,
yeah. All right, going over to metalsucks.net for my last 2 stories. Brooklyn's legendary St. Vitus bar is going to be memorialized in a special new book. All throughout the world, there are locations that many a metalhead can instantly walk into and feel at home. Venues, certain locales, and bars can be the perfect place for a metal fan to let their hair down and chill with some like-minded people. For the folks in New York City and the surrounding area, one of the hottest spots deserving of a heavy metal pilgrimage is the legendary St. Vitus Bar. With a decade now in its rearview mirror and a slew of amazing shows having taken place under its roof, the St. Vitus Bar is commemorating all of the memories with a special book titled The First 10 Years in Oral and Visual History. Featuring never-before-seen shit like backstage photos and first-person anecdotes from musicians, fans, and promoters, the book is currently seeking funding through both Kickstarter and a separate pre-order window. The link to the Kickstarter is in the story. Some of the artists featured in the book's 346 pages include Nirvana, Descendants, Chelsea Wolfe, Anthrax, Death Heaven, Megadeth, Johnny Rotten, Tony Iommi, Trevor Sturnad, formerly of the Black Dahlia murder, may he rest in peace. Sorry, the story jumped on me for all the dumbass pop-ups. Walt, stop it. Fucking keeps doing it. Walter Schreifels of Quicksand, Vinny Stigma of Agnostic Front, Mike Nine of I Hate God, Frank Turner, Laura Jane Grace, actress Jessica Pimentel, and author Chuck Klosterman, and more. The Kickstarter campaign is seeking to raise $30,000 to produce the book, and after only a few hours, it raised nearly $24,000 from 222 backers. With 29 days left in the campaign, it's very likely that the book's limited run of 1,000 copies could get completely snatched up before it's even printed and released on October 31st. And see, I hate that. We've talked about that before. So if you're interested in getting your hands on a copy, be sure to hit up the Kickstarter page or go pre-order one for yourself. So, yep. And in this story, there's also like a YouTube video at the bottom that talks about the first 10 years behind the book. So if you guys want to check that out, that is over there. So that's one of those places that I've never been to, but obviously during the Hit and the Road segment, it constantly pops up, tours, many tours go through that place. And it's always kind of like caught my eye. That venue is kind of one of those venues I probably would want to go to if I ever went to New York, especially, being metalheads like we are. So,
right.
And finally, also at metalsucks.net, this one is super duper quick, but I saw this on the internet earlier this week, and I wanted to get this one out there because I really liked the response. They might be the biggest metal band on the planet, but when you're not playing 2 shows in every city, Metallica find time to support their fans, especially when those fans are the victims of negative comments for their Metallica fandom. YouTube user Allie the Piper posted a short medley of herself, including Bagpipes in One, Fade to Black, Enter Sandman, and Whiskey in the Jar. Of course, someone always has to be a dickhead, and one user commented, "Bagpipes don't belong in Metallica. James would not approve," to which the official Metallica account responded, quote, "This guy doesn't speak on our behalf. You're awesome," end quote. Hard to argue with the experts themselves. And I kind of agree. I don't know why there's always got to be that one guy who just has to shit talk. I'm not saying he has to agree with the fact that she's playing the bagpipes to Metallica, but if you don't like it, just move the fuck on. Shut up and move on. You don't got to be that guy. You're entitled to your own opinion. Just don't be an asshole. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that, she got the, proverbial thumbs up from Metallica. I kind of like to see that. So that's very cool. And then before we get into the headlines, I just want to take another quick moment to remind you guys about Hidden Intent and their fundraiser that they've got going on at GoFundMe for their trip over to Europe and to the Wacken Festival in specifically. I talked about it last week, and when I talked about it last week, the fundraiser was at like $2,600 some odd dollars. And lead singer Chris McEwen, he started it on June 15th. So we're looking at 8 days in. And as of right now, let me refresh it real quick. As of right now, the fundraiser is up to $3,500. So very cool. I had a chance to talk to Chris real quick earlier in the week, just on Facebook. We didn't talk face to face or anything, but I messaged him because he put a reminder up, and then I told him that I wanted to keep mentioning it. And I wanted to know how long the fundraiser was going to run, and he said that it's going to be a while. He said it might actually run into August. So you guys have got time. If you want to donate, $5, $10, whatever, any little bit you can to help the guys in Hidden Intent over there while they're over there in Europe, it'll all come in handy. I guarantee you. So, I plan on donating when I get to a spot where I can. So if you guys can go over to GoFundMe, just in the search bar, just type Hidden Intent and you'll find it. It's easy to find.
Cool.
But that's all the stories that I had. I am done for the week.
Okay, I want to put something up here too, real quick.
Oh yeah.
This is the GoFundMe for Andy, who was injured at the Apollo incident in Belvedere back in, I think, March. It was when the building collapsed during that tornado. He still has a lot of issues and stuff. He's still got to push through. So hopefully, he's lucky to be alive, but he still has a lot of rehab to go. So if you find it in your heart to donate a few bucks to him, that'd be appreciated as well. I know we've had that in our page, and then a couple of people have had it in other metal pages as well. So and then but he's not even at $1,000, and he's trying to get 50,000 raised. So there's a long way to go for him. So.
Yeah, and I would, and I, in all honesty, I would almost be willing to bet that $50,000, while it would go a long way, depending on how much treatment he's still got to go through. That's probably there's no telling what this guy's gonna owe in hospital bills, unfortunately. So yeah.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, if you guys can help out at all, then there you go.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, there's people on there just giving them $5. I mean, if you had, 1,000 people giving him $5, that's better than nothing. So that'll definitely put a dent in it for him. So
yeah.
Oh man,
that old saying that every little bit helps is true in a lot of these cases.
Oh well, yeah. So the saying, like we talked about last week, one person gives you $1, a million people do it, then you're a millionaire. So
that's right. It's 100% right.
Anyway. Right. Then the other headlines here. Dave Mustaine says, I've always kind of poked fun at Kirk Hammett, and unfairly so. So obviously he's getting a little bit lenient with. I think more or less he's getting a little bit trying to make a lot of amends because he's really wanting to do another Big Four show. So, so of course you can't do that without Metallica. So there you go.
Yeah.
Then I didn't get to watch this, but I do want to see this. But Testament's Chuck Billy joined Pantera for a walk at the Copenhagen. So that would have the video was up somewhere I seen, but I didn't get to watch it. So
let's watch it right now.
Yeah. New music by David Ellefson and Jeff Young might not be done under the Kings of Thrash name, which that's kind of interesting. And then John Bush thinks the tour showcasing his time with Anthrax is something I would like to do before I die. Well, I would love to see that myself as well. So.
Yeah, he's talked about that before. So
yeah, so hopefully at some point he'll be able to do that. So
I would like to think he'd be able to make that happen. I'd like to think.
Yeah. We could do a tour with John Bush doing Anthrax, and then Tim Ripper Owens opening up doing Judas Priest.
Oh, hell yeah! Hell yes!
Book it now and take my money.
Yeah. Where's that? Yeah, that Fry Futurama. Just yeah.
Yeah.
Shut up and take my money.
The new Cannibal Corpse album, Chaos Horrific, announced with the new single Bloodblind also being released. I think I threw that on the playlist as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think I did.
Well, it can always be added.
Oh, yeah. Motley Crue aren't even hiding the fact that Vince Neil's using backing tracks anymore. According to like, well, And then Rob Halford's duet with Dolly Parton debuts at #1 on media-based classic rock songs chart. So I don't know if you've heard that song. It actually isn't bad. I thought that was like kind of an odd duo, and I listened to it. I'm like, man, that's really not that bad. So,
I haven't heard that one, but I did see earlier in the week that Dolly Parton and Ann Wilson did a duet cover of Magic Man. And Angela and I listened to that. It was interesting. It definitely wasn't bad. So I'm actually going to be interested to hear what Dolly Parton puts out. I think I'm mostly interested to hear the original songs that she's gonna put out. I mean, the covers are all well and good, but you basically know how the songs are gonna sound already, just what kind of spin she's gonna put on it. Because Magic Man was really no different. But I'm interested to hear, because I mean, if she's really leaning into this skid of doing a rock and roll album, I'll be interested to hear the original songs that she comes out with.
I was almost positive that let me see, that one with her and Rob was an original.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. Almost positive that it was. I was trying to find it here again.
All right.
It was on the other one. I go through 2 playlists when I'm looking at stuff. So. It's on this one, I think. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's called Bygones. Yeah, I think that's a new song. So.
Okay, well, I'll definitely check it out. I just hadn't a chance to yet.
Yeah, it's definitely like I said, it's can't imagine Dolly Parton screaming or doing gutturals. So, I mean, you kind of take it for what it's worth,
right? Yeah.
But I think her and him kind of him taking over parts of that song definitely metals it up a lot. So I'm not saying she's not a great vocalist. She is. We're just not into country music. So
right, yeah.
All right, In Flames frontman Anders Frieden rules out retirement, says there's no reason to quit. So this is what pisses me off. So he has no reason to come out and say that unless somebody fucking asked him. Like, quit asking all these older people when they're going to retire. Like, you're like pushing them out the door, and we need, we as metalheads love the freaking music. The more the merrier. So, if he wants to play until he's 80, then play till he's 80.
Yeah, these guys will. Yeah, they'll definitely let us know when they're ready to stop. They'll let us know.
Yeah. I mean, they had a very successful album. Was it this year? Yeah, I think it was this year. Earlier in the year. So I mean, they're not. They just put an album out, so they're not going nowhere anytime soon. I mean, they're touring off for an album right now. So I don't get people, man. Like,
hell,
and the bad thing is. The bad thing is it was probably a media outlet. So.
I guarantee you it probably was. I guarantee it was. That's the funny thing is, we saw them, we saw them open up for Slipknot last year. They sure as shit don't show any signs of slowing down.
Megadeth.
Or yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Megadeth. Yeah. But yeah, that's true. But yeah, they definitely don't show any signs of slowing down. Absolutely not.
No, and it sounded great. So.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
Dream Theater's John Petrucci says playing an 8-string guitar helped open up a new world of dimension and range with the instrument. Well, I mean, I guess so. You added 2 more strings.
2 strings, yeah.
Not like that 8-neck shit I seen a while back. I was like,
right. Yeah.
I'm like, good God.
You just need 33% more strings. That's all you need.
Yeah, you just need to have octopus arms,
That's right.
Doc Ock playing a damn.
Yeah.
The Testament, Death Angel, Overkill, and Flotsam Jetson members to guest on Nick Mills' documentary soundtrack. That should be interesting.
That should be solid.
Christina Scabia says next Lacuna Coil album won't arrive before 2024. Which we both, I think, kind of commented. I think you posted and I commented on it. I said, as long as they got to take their time, it's better than the last one. I'm okay with it. So,
yeah. Same.
Sacred Reich has written 6 or 7 songs for their next studio album, shooting for a late 2024 release. So there's another band already looking for 2024. So
yeah, I mean, you got so right off the bat, we got Sacred Reich, we got Testament, we have Exodus, Judas Priest new album is probably not going to be until 24. I mean, for crying out loud,
Anthrax.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Uh-huh.
Not sure if not sure, but Non-Point's recording. I don't know if it's going to make it to the end of this year or first of next year. So I mean, you just don't know. So
it's true.
Especially with those guys, they'll pop out at Christmas time on you. So
yeah, they did. What did they do last year? Thanksgiving. They did Thanksgiving last year, more or less. With that EP,
it was like. Yeah, it was like no, it was in December. It was like
was it in December?
Week of December. Yeah, and I was like, wow, wait till the last minute, guys. Like, man.
And they still ended up having one of the top EPs of the year as far as we were concerned.
Yeah. Well, it was my top EP, but yeah. Then Hammer Falls to begin recording new album at the end of the year. So I mean, if they're recording at the end of the year, guess what that means? It's probably going to be a 2024 release.
24. Yep.
Yeah, Testament says they have 5 or 6 killer new songs written for their next studio album, so they're probably pretty much in at least halfway into that album.
Yeah, halfway, sure.
So, Swedish Metallica fans got to travel to Gothenburg concert aboard a Train 72.
Cool.
That was kind of cool. So,
yeah.
Blaze Bailey announces his first live show since undergoing quadruple heart bypass surgery. Just hope he takes it easy.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. That was very cool.
Yeah, but we were glad he's doing well, though. So
yes.
Motorhead's guitarist Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons announced a new album, Kings of the Asylum. That's actually probably going to be out this year because I think they've already released a track or 2 from it. So reunited Cold Chambers talking about making new music, so that's very exciting. Like wow. Just new Devil Driver music this year, and maybe looking at new Cold Chamber coming out too. Like,
yes,
man, that's for far staying a busy guy. James Hetfield once revealed that what Cliff Burton would have made of Metallica's 90s era. He said there would have been some resistance.
Yeah. Yes.
we said that a lot.
Yes. I think that's a very, very vague take on what actually would have happened.
Yeah. Not to make light and fun of that, but I wonder if they all survived that bus accident and that happened, if he would have said, man, I should just died on that bus.
Actually,
I'm not making light of it by any means. I'm just saying, like that's how much of a pushback he would have probably gave him.
And that's the thing is that's kind of the strong personality that Cliff had.
Right.
So it kind of I could kind of see his reaction being something just kind of tongue in cheek, him being a smart ass, but yeah, I kind of see it.
Right, exactly. And then you'd think that they would kind of lean more toward what he wanted because they moved the whole band to where he was at just to get him. I think he pretty much had him by the balls. He knew it. So we would probably not be talking about that 90s era Metallica the day that we, then.
Definitely not the one we got. Not the one we got. That's for sure.
Right. A Polish bus number 666 that stops off at Hale is being changed after religious groups accuse it of spreading Satanism. Yeah, imagine that. Oh my God! I mean, these people. You spread just because you named a bus that. I mean, you didn't name the town. I mean, who named the town? Won't you get mad at them?
Well, I mean, like I said before, there's a Hell, Michigan, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, people's crazy. So, Gene Simmons promises that Kiss are really quitting this time. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then, last but not least, a couple gets engaged during death metal mosh pit at a festival, which there was video of that somewhere. It was pretty cool. They actually wound up being in a mosh pit and then everybody just turned into hugging each other.
Yep.
That's pretty funny. That is all the headlines that I have. So
the one headline that I remember seeing that you didn't talk about is I can't remember which member it was. But in the headline that I saw, Avenged Sevenfold was saying that they may not release any full albums anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they may just.
We talked about that last week. I thought, yeah.
Did we? Okay, we may
Yeah,
have.
I think so. Yeah.
But I don't know why that stuck into my head. Maybe because it stuck into my head because my first thought was, well, based on the last two, that might be a good idea. So I'm still kind of dumbfounded at how much I hated the new album.
I don't think you were the only one. So.
Yeah.
I don't think you were alone. There was a lot of people that actually was like, "Oh, this is cool." I'm just saying, well, okay. I mean,
hey,
their own, I guess. But
yeah, exactly. To each their own. Hey, not begrudging anybody, but just it was a massive swing and a miss for both of us.
Yeah,
it was a big no for me.
What? Hold on just a second.
What you got?
I was just saying, hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out why this is being unstable because I'm plugged straight into the Wi-Fi. Like that makes
What?
no sense.
Is it telling you your internet connection is unstable? Okay, now you're on mute. There you go.
Like it's telling me like I'm plugged into the Wi-Fi router. You dumb fucks. Like
yeah, that's StreamYard. That's StreamYard. It absolutely is.
It's ridiculous. It caused me to go somewhere else, man. All right, I guess we can jump into hitting the road. I have a few here, and then I'll let you take over like always.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's fine again. So
it's so weird.
Cradle and Filth and Devil Driver unveil the second leg of their U.S. co-headlining tour, Double Triple Live 2, with El Nino, Black Satellite, and Savage Existence. That kicks off October 4th in Los Angeles, California at the Belasco, and ends on October 29th in Riverside, California at Riverside Municipal Auditorium. And then Avatar announced the Chimp Mosh Pit Fall Tour. Kicks off on September 10th in Alton, Virginia at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival. And that ends on October 8th in San Luis Obispo, California at the Fremont Theater. And they will be making a stop in Nashville at the Brooklyn Bowl on September 24th. The day I'm going out of town to go to Michigan, assholes.
You've seen Avatar before. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them a couple of times, but I've never seen them like headline though.
That's the thing. I've never
seen them headline on tour. So
that is.
So that was like, So I was like, man, I wanted to see them headline, but
Yeah, that's different.
All right, and then last but not least, it seems like everyone these days has themselves a festival, and when they're not doing something on land, they're starting their own metal festival cruises. So basically, what I'm trying to say is bands are starting to take things into their own hands and curating a festival experience that fits their style and their fan expectations. Case in point is the fact that Code Orange just unveiled the first annual Codes World with the tagline, "If you book it, they will come," an obvious reference to the classic flick Field of Dreams.
Yep.
But rather than being a tearjerker of a film about some dude building a baseball field, Codes World promises to be brutal as fuck. Taking place on September 30th in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the festival will start at 3 p.m. and will feature 12 bands across 2 stages. The show is open to all ages too, so you can bring along the rest of your Sandlot baseball team to throw hands in the pit. As for who will be playing, of course, Code Orange, Madball, Vein FM, 200 Stab Wounds, Pain of Truth, Gridiron, 1-800-PAIN, Killborn, Wrist Meat Razor. I know it's all one word, but it's kind of Live It Down, Hazing Over, and Pain Clinic. So there are the bands that are going to be at that. So I'm more down to be, going to these day or two festivals than I am these 4-day things anymore. I think
Mm-hmm.
eventually they're all going to have to I think eventually they'll have to compress them down some because
I think so
especially with
too.
the economy the way it is. Um,
Yeah.
Once the economy picks back up, I think they can go back to 4, but I think really it's probably best if they went down to 2 or 3 days. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I
we'll,
think I really think the Tennessee Metal Devastation Music Fest. I think it's going into its second year this year, and they moved into a new venue. Hopefully, they don't get
right.
chased out of this one because of people being stupid. But anyway,
Yeah, well,
that
they already
all that
somebody already tried and it
yeah,
failed. So
all that bullshit aside, I really think it's a 1 day festival. It's something that people can get, especially for people like you and me. We can drive out to Jackson, we can see the show, we can
hmm
drive home that night, no harm, no foul. I mean, you can knock it out in a
right.
day. You get an entire day's worth of metal. It's like 11 hours, 12 bands. So I mean, I really think I really think Raven and Zach, they really have something that is really, I really think they got something that's going to work, and
Oh yeah,
they've got it down to 1 day, and I think it's really a good formula what they have going on. I really
yeah.
do.
Yeah, well, I mean, they turned away a lot of bands just to keep it at that 1 day. I mean, if they
Hmm.
wanted to do two, they could have very well did two. Because I mean, they had a lot of band submissions. I mean,
Yeah.
a couple of bands that we know personally submitted. So,
Yep.
uh,
And that's the good thing. And that's the good thing is like the bands that were there last year, Eyes of the Living, they wanted to come back and they didn't
mhm,
get selected this year. And I'm not upset about that. They can always come back next year.
mhm.
So that's the thing. So, you know, but yeah, Zach and Raven, they got a good thing going. And I'm excited to see how this year goes.
Yeah, same. All right, that was all of my hitting the road. So,
All
I'll
right.
let you take the wheel.
Sounds good. This week was a little bit on the lighter side, which is fine. But as always, starting out at the PRP.com, Finger 11 will be going on a summer and fall North American tour starting June 17th. So it's already started in Beaumont, Alberta at the Four Seasons Park. However, in a weird kind of twist, the next show on the tour doesn't start until August. So that's kind of weird.
Oh,
The very first
wow.
stop on the tour was this week, and then they won't pick back up until August, and then the tour runs through
Hmm,
November 28th.
interesting.
And yeah, I thought it was weird. The tour will finish November 28th in North Battleford, Saskatchewan at the Decker Center for the Performing Arts. Being as an Ocean of Virtue and Senna are going to Europe and to the UK starting August 25th in Nuremberg, Germany at Hirsch, finishing September 16th in Stuttgart, Germany at Im Weissmann. Quicksand is going on a 30th anniversary tour for their Slip album starting October 30th in Atlanta, Georgia at Terminal West, finishing December 2nd in Los Angeles at the Regent. Papa Roach
If they don't
Spirit.
have a if they don't have an album called "Throw Me a Vine," I swear to
They should at least a song. At least you got to at least
God.
have a song.
Right.
Yeah. Papa Roach and Spirit Box have announced a few more fall U.S. shows. Those new dates are September 10th in Baltimore at Rams Head Live, September 16th in Wallingford, Connecticut at the Toyota Oakdale Theater, September 17th in Huntington, New York at the Paramount, October 2nd in Birmingham, Alabama at the Avondale Brewing Company, and October 10th in Phoenix, Arizona at the Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater. Nasty, King 810, 1056, Chamber, Fox Lake, and Reduction are going to Europe and to the UK starting November 3rd in Cologne, Germany at Essig Fabric, finishing November 24th in London, England at Academy Islington. Baroness has announced a fall North American tour. Strap yourself in for this because this is the list of all of the bands who are going to be appearing on this tour at some point in time. Jesus
Oh
Peace,
my God.
Jesus Peace, Escuela Grind, Portrayal of Guilt, Primitive Man, Midwife, Agriculture, Ken Mode, Hoaxed, Empire State Bastard, Wayfarer, Chat Pile, Vile Creature, Cloud Rat, Soul Glow, Sheer Mag, Imperial Triumphant, and Uniform. Those are all the bands who are gonna.
Jesus.
Those are all the bands who are going to be on this tour at some point in time. I did not break this down into who's appearing, what, where, and anything else. The tour starts October 13th in Baltimore, Maryland, at the Baltimore Soundstage, and finishes December 1st in Philadelphia at the Union Transfer. Silverstein is going on a 10th anniversary tour for their This Is How the Wind Shifts album with Stray from the Path and Avoid starting November 23rd in Toronto at the Opera House, finishing December 17th in Detroit at the Majestic. They will be in Nashville at Brooklyn Bowl on December 2nd. Bad Wolves for the Fallen Dreams, Inimical Drive, and The Funeral Portrait have had their tour which was previously canceled rescheduled. It will now take place starting July 8th in Flint, Michigan at the Machine Shop and finish July 26th in Lincoln, Nebraska at the Bourbon Theater. Guar, Nonpoint, Crowbot, and 200 Stab Wounds are going out on tour with varying lineups at select dates, starting August 21st in Boise, Idaho at the Knitting Factory, finishing September 3rd in Cookeville, Tennessee at Muddy Roots. That will be the only Tennessee date. They will not be stopping in Nashville. Oxbow is going on a couple of separate tours. Their U.S. tour will start October 20th in Philadelphia, PA at the Philamocha, and will end on November 11th in Mesa, Arizona at Pub Rock. No Nashville date. Then they will be going over to Europe and to the UK starting September 1st in Glasgow, Scotland at Broadcast, finishing September 16th in Aalborg, Denmark at the Lasher Fest. The Acacia Strain Summer Tour featuring Escuela Grind, Mugshot, Foreign Hands, and No Cure, varying dates, select lineups, starting October 11th in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania at Love Drafts featuring Pain of Truth, finishing September 10th in Atlantic City, New Jersey at the Anchor Rock Club. They are not coming to Nashville, but they will be in Memphis, Tennessee at Growlers on August 16th. Cannibal Corpse, Mayhem, Gore Guts, and Blood Incantation are going out on tour starting September 22nd in Nashville at Marathon Music Works and finishing October 21st in Louisville, Kentucky at Paris Town Hall. Stray from the Path, Make Them Suffer, Void of Vision, and Gnosis are going on a European tour starting October 26th in Berlin, Germany at Hole 44, finishing November 18th in Aarau, Switzerland at KIF. And the only other one I have is over at blabbermouth.net. KK's Priest, Paul Diano, and Burning Witches are going on a UK tour in October. Those dates are October 7th in Birmingham, England, the O2 Institute, October 8th in Glasgow, Scotland at the SWG3, October 10th in Nottingham, England at Rock City, October 11th in Manchester, England at the O2 Ritz, and October 12th in London, England at the O2 Shepherd's Bush Empire. So there you go. That is hitting the road for the 17th through the 23rd.
We don't care. It's not in America. We don't care. They get all the damn good tours, man. I swear they do.
I'm still irritated about that Death Angel, Sacred Reich, and Angelus Apatrida European
I
tour.
know, man. That's what I'm saying. See,
so jealous.
It pays to be European sometimes, I guess. So.
Sometimes. I'm so jealous of that one.
All right. I guess that will kick us over into our theme of the week, which we're carrying on our record label themes. This week is for Fearless Records. I kind of I feel like I put Chris in a spot with this.
You did. God damn, you did.
Because I mean, if you don't know Fearless Records, they're like the epitome of metalcore. They are 90% of the bands on that label are metalcore. So,
metalcore and pop punk, which I do not listen to. I do not listen
right. Yeah,
to,
yeah.
I don't listen to pop punk at all. So yeah, this one was by far the hardest one for me. I got to 10. I surprised myself and I got to 10. And actually, there are some songs on here by bands that I've heard of but never listened to. And I found some songs that I did find some songs that I liked. I did. So I did get to 10, but yeah, cool. This one was the hardest one by far. No doubt.
I wound up with 13. So
nice. All right.
And what's crazy, I was looking down through this lineup, and I'm just like, dude, I've seen almost every one of these bands live.
Nice.
Which was like I didn't catch it until at the end. I said, wait a minute. I said, all right. I said, man, there's only like four bands out of all these I have not seen, which is kind of crazy.
Nice.
But, yeah,
very cool.
I don't know if you went through the what they call like the they had like a section of where they had like a honorary section that they were always uh, that they had been past like record label uh,
No,
bands
I
or
went.
whatever, but they
No,
gave
I
them
mean
like
I
an
went.
honorary
I
status or something. So
no, I didn't see that. Oh, so you cheated?
yeah, so there's a lot of well, no, I didn't cheat. I mean, I didn't
I'm
cheat.
just
Every
no,
song
dude.
on here is from
No,
is
dude.
a Fearless Records
No,
recording.
I'm
So I
fucking
mean,
with you, man. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
oh, I know.
No, I went over to their website and I went over to their website and I was scrolling through the page of their active artists. I was like, yeah, I don't listen to any of these fucking people. And then I saw that they had a tab. I saw that they had a tab for alumni. I was like, well, let me check these out. And
That's what I'm
some of
talking
the
about. Yeah, the
yes,
alumni. That's what I meant. Yeah.
oh, okay. The alumni. Yeah, I did recognize more of the alumni. And then what I ultimately ended up doing
Yeah.
is I went over to YouTube and I just like typed in Fearless Records and I went to their page of like all the videos they've ever released. I just started at the top and I worked my way down. I was like, that one looks interesting, play. That one looks interesting, play. And and obviously there were a few that I knew of right off the hop. And I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm sure the one song you'll know that I had on this list without a doubt. But so yeah, it was probably the most in-depth research I had to do for one of these lists by far. Which I mean, it was
I'm
still
sure I'll get
fun.
paid
It
back.
was still fun. It was
Yeah.
still fun.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll get paid back for that at some points.
I doubt it. I mean, it was still like I say, it was still fun to do.
Oh, they're all fun to do, man.
Yeah, still
I
fun to
think the
do.
funnest part. I think the funnest part is researching the
Hmm.
stuff and then figuring out either finding new stuff or bands you never heard of, or like there was some bands on here I have never heard of either.
Yeah.
And I try to listen to some of it, which not a lot of. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, none of them made it on here, but but
Of course, of course,
it was still like I wasn't familiar with them, so I listened to them. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, same. So needless to say, there were some that probably didn't even get 30 seconds. If I'm being
So
completely honest,
I will
because
say
some of
this.
those songs started and I was like, nope.
Yeah,
Because like I say,
I will say
I
this. Like some
don't
of
listen to pop punk.
so if I really wanted to cheat, all I had to do was go to the car. So I actually have a Fearless
That's
Record
true.
CD in the
That's true.
car, and
Yeah,
it has all the bands on the back of it. So
that's true.
I could have just did that. I'm
Yeah.
actually mad at myself. I didn't think about that till now. So
Yeah, and it was
it'll
your
save me some time.
idea.
I know, right? Anyway, we'll kick us off here. First one I thought was Archetypes Collide with Parasite. Of course, that was from their self-titled album or from earlier this year. Then I went with I Prevail Gasoline. That was from Trauma in 2019. Then I went with, of course, Ice Nine Kills, Communion of the Curse from Every Trick in the Book 2015. Of course, I could have went with 30, 40 Ice Nine Kills songs and just made a 30 playlist of Ice Nine Kills. But
Yeah.
but then I went with Kill the Lights, The Faceless. That was from The Center 2020. Then there's not a lot of Pierce the Veil songs I like, but I do like this song. It was from The First Punch, and it was from the album Collide with the Sky from 2012. A lot of their newer stuff I really don't dig, but Until I Wake, Nightmares, that was actually just a single from 2021. Then I went with Burials in Darkness, and that was from the album of the same name, In Darkness 2019. Then I went with Volumes, Get Enough, that was from the album Happier from 2021. Then I went with Wage War, Stitch from Dead Weight 2017. Then I went with August Burns Red, Invisible Enemy from Phantom Anthem 2017. And then I went with Bless the Fall, Hollow Bodies. That was also from the Hollow Bodies album from 2013. Then I went with Motionless in White, Break the Cycle from Reincarnate 2014. And then last but not least, Under Oath, Rapture from Erase Me 2018. So that was my list there. So
Well, on the bright
they
side,
don't have as many bands. So.
Yeah, on the bright side, we don't have any overlaps.
Well, I kind of figured that. So
Yeah. Well, cool. With that being said, here's my 10 Fearless Record songs for this week. Number 1 was Assault and Batteries by Ice Nine Kills off the Silver Screen 2, Welcome to Horrorwood from 2021. Then I had Reincarnate by Motionless in White off the album of the same name from 2014. Then I had Broken Bones by Kill the Lights off of the album of the same name from 2023. Then I had Bloodletter by August Burns Red off of Guardians from 2020. Then I had The Cycle of Violence Chapter 1 by Varials off of Scars for You to Remember from 2022. Then I had Circle the Drain by Wage War off of Manic from 2021. Then I had Destiny by Archetypes Collide off of their self-titled album from 2023. Then I had Between You and I off by The Color Morale off of Hold On, Pain Ends from 2014. Then I had Contemptuous by Motionless in White off of Reincarnate from 2014. And then last, I had Hip to Be Scared by Ice Nine Kills, also off of the Silver Scream 2. Welcome to Horrorwood from 2021. So
I had him so messed up with this one. He had to put some double up on some bands.
I had to. I mean, I got. Honestly, no lie. It wasn't until I only had 7 until this morning, and I was seriously starting. It's like, fuck, am I even going to be able to get to 10? So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to. I was like, I'm just going to have to, And then I found that song by The Color Morale, who I actually have never heard of until today. I've never even heard of this band until today.
I haven't heard of them. Yeah.
And then I listened to the song. I was like, all right, that was actually pretty good. So I added it. And then it was getting later in the day. I was like, you know what? I've heard of Motionless in White. I've heard of Ice Nine Kills. There's plenty of Ice Nine Kills songs that I actually do like.
Oh yeah.
So
well, I mean, like, I mean, Ice Nine's still on Fearless. So
yeah.
So every one of their albums is on Fearless. So
right. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I try to not double up on bands if if I can. Just to give enough diversity of the artists, but like, the last few weeks with us doing these labels, we did Napalm and we did Nuclear Blast and stuff like that, so I had multiple songs by Exodus, multiple songs by Testament, multiple songs by Machine Head. Because I mean, if we're talking label specific artists, I mean, obviously with some of the bands on those labels, Machine Head, Testament, Exodus, those are major names in thrash metal. So I mean, if we're doing favorite songs by our favorite artists, obviously you would think that, like you said, you could have done 30 songs just by Ice Nine Kills on here because that's how big of a fan of them you are, so certain themes on certain weeks, you're just gonna have that happen. But it just got to the point where it's like, I need to at least get to 10. This is embarrassing. So, so I went ahead and kind of, just went ahead and threw Motionless in White and Ice Nine Kills on here twice. So, but overall, I mean, I'm still happy with the list, and it was still fun to put together.
Oh yeah.
This week's list will probably be right up Kayla's alley. So.
Yeah. There was a lot of bands that I listened to, and I thought, and I got a My Chemical Romance type vibe from them, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I meant to tell you that. I was like, yeah, she'll definitely like some of the bands that's on Fearless.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna text her later, and of course I asked her not too long ago. I said, "Do you listen to our playlist that we put?" She goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, "Absolutely." So I'll definitely let her know what this week's theme is gonna be. So
cool.
She'll be in on that.
Then I'll have to download and upload that to the radio too. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. I guess that will kick us into our album reviews this week. I actually wound up listening to 2, and I think you said you got 1 in and an EP. So
yeah, I had an LP had an LP and an EP.
Yeah. Down with the PP.
That's right. Wait, no.
All right, my first Then my first one is from a band called Beneath the Hollow. Actually, both of my bands this week have something in common too. So the first one I did was from a band Beneath the Hollow. Misery Loves You is the name of the album. They were actually formed in 2018 in Chicago. They consist of Jewel Yoakum on vocals, Jesse DeGroot on guitar, Dan Pacheco on bass, and Matt DeGroot on drums. So I'm guessing Matt and Jesse must be related. This is the band's debut full-length album. They did have an EP out in 2020 called Indoctrinate. What's that?
I said they are de Groot.
Yeah, yeah, they are the group. Yeah.
They are de Groot.
This album had 8 tracks, 33 minutes 7 seconds. I feel like the sound is a little more like a dark gloom metal mixed with some groove and thrash, a little bit sprinkled in here and there. Um, it was almost like a modern day Black Sabbath kind of to me.
Ah,
The guitars were thrashy. The guitars were thrashy, while the drumming was a little bit like more of the gloom and groove. So it was kind of like this off putting a little, um, but vocally reminded me a lot of like 10 Years meets Angela Sapatrita.
nice.
So
Okay.
that's a crazy combination, but that's kind of like what it reminded me of because he had like that yeah like that Angela Sapatrita has, but then he had the like the low tone of a 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
he was kind of hitting both of those. So it was kind of, I mean, that was the best way I could to describe it. So um, I feel this album didn't show a lot of the vocalist's range, though. I felt like he had a lot more to offer than what was on the album, but because you could just tell it was there. He just the music just didn't I don't know, didn't kind of like I said, it's kind of more of a doom gloom with thrash mixed in, so it wasn't really a belting type album.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he could do that. Don't get me wrong. It just wasn't that type of album. But I mean, it was definitely worth checking out. I mean, I'm going to give it 3.5 horns, just because I feel like it could have been. They like I said, I think they're a lot better than what this album shows. So, um, and then I went with the second band I went with was Vacant Voice. This is their album called Cathartic Beauty. Uh, Vacant Voice is a metal musical band from Racine, Wisconsin. They were formed in 2022. Um, so they're made up of past members of the 11th Hour Onset, To Trust a Liar, and Ethan Taylor. So all these guys have been in other bands. They just recently formed this one. You got Shane Murphy on drums, Ethan Taylor on guitar, Brad Wilson on vocals, Michael Dalak Posh on guitars and vocals, and Austin Olson on bass. And this is where everything comes into a little bit of likeness here. This is the band's debut album. So there
Yeah.
was 2 debut albums this week. So,
Cool.
this one was 8 songs, 29 minutes, 19 seconds. Vocally, Brad showcases the screams and cleans really, really well. Music arrangements take you kind of on a roller coaster of sounds. The band would have been definitely been a good fit for like the Vans Warped Tour when it was still around. I think so. I wasn't crazy about some of the arrangements, but overall, I think it was a decent debut. I'm going to give this one 3.5 horns as well. So
Very nice. Not too bad, especially like you say, especially for
two,
debut
3.5
album.
horns. So.
Yeah. Yeah, not too bad. Especially for debut albums.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I feel like, yeah, I feel like both of these bands are going to wind up being getting better as they go along. So,
well, I mean, that's all you can really hope for. I mean, come out, establish your sound, build a good foundation of what people
yeah,
can expect to hear from you, and then just kind of progress from there, mature a little bit, tighten everything up, make it a little more crisp, a little more coherent. Yeah, see what you get, see what we get from these guys moving forward. So yeah, nice to see that they've laid down a pretty good foundation. All right, my LP this week, my formal review is the brand new album Lightning in the Ashes by a band called Forged in Black. They are a heavy/thrash metal band formed in Essex, England in 2013. Their lineup consists of all the original members. You have Kieran Rochester on bass and vocals, Kevin Rochester on drums. Again, I'm assuming these are brothers. Andy Songhurst on guitar, and Chris Storozinski on vocals. So we got two vocalists. I'm assuming it doesn't say which one. Oh, actually, it does. I'm sorry. Chris Storozinski is the lead vocalist. So I guess Kieran Rochester does a little bit of the backing
Okay.
vocals. So this is for being around since 2013. They haven't exactly been in a huge hurry to put out music. This is only their third LP. Their debut album was self-titled back in 2013. Descent of the Serpent in 19, leading up to Lightning in the Ashes today. The new album is 10 tracks long, 42 minutes and 13 seconds. So a pretty easy listen. Um, this one, this one kind of reminded me if you put Grim Reaper and King Diamond in a blender and sprinkled in some Iron Maiden. This is, is what
Wow.
you, yeah, kind of what you would have gotten with this one. And I mean that obviously in all of the best essence of all of those. Pretty powerful vocals from Chris Storozinski. The drums were solid. The guitars were nice and heavy and thrashy. There were a lot of tempo changes. Even everything was heavy all across the board. There weren't any ballady type songs on here at all. And even when they did pull back on the tempo, everything was still really dark and heavy. Had a nice medieval sound through it with a lot of it. Even you could probably even say the sound even with the references I already made, you could probably see where they could have possibly even taken a little bit of influence from Sabotage. So,
Okay.
which is obviously, of course, isn't a bad thing. So, a lot of
No.
nice little medieval sound. One thing that stuck out to me though that made me laugh. Made me laugh. Track number 9 is called Hallucinator, which is a badass track title anyway. But there was a point during like the chorus where Chris would sing the chorus and he would say the name of the song, and then I'm guessing it must be Kieran who does the backing vocals. He would just go hallucinator, but it sounded like he was singing through one of those. You ever watch college football and like the cheerleaders have got like those cheerleading megaphones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It almost sounded like
Little
he
like a
was like,
megaphone. Yeah.
yeah, like he was singing through that, and every time he would do it, I just laughed to myself. So that was kind of, I thought that was
The
pretty, I thought that was pretty fucking funny. But
cheerleading cone, I guess.
right, yeah. So that's kind of what it reminded me of. Like that's what they were using for him to sing his backing vocals on that one part of the song.
Or
But
or maybe or
yeah,
maybe an empty paper towel holder or something.
oh yeah. Could have been,
Uh,
but I mean, it was an interesting way of doing it, and it just made me laugh. So it stuck in my head. So I
yeah.
mean, it definitely got the point across. So yeah, this one's another very solid album. I'm gonna give this one 4 horns out of 5 as well. So I
Which
dig
was
that one.
what was this one again?
It was called Lightning in the Ashes by Forged in Black.
Okay,
And then the EP that I
yeah,
listened to, I listened to The Cursed Lord by Phoebus the Night. I don't know where they're from because, like I say, I just listened to it. It's 5 songs. It's 30 minutes and 34 seconds long. This one is really interesting because basically what it is it's like an opera. It's more or less like five acts of an opera set to heavy metal guitars and
Mm.
like power metal vocals. So very, very interesting combination here. Um, I really don't know what else to say about it. I mean, it's just a very interesting combo, and if you've got 30 minutes to listen to it, I would say it's interesting enough and kind of a diverse enough when you've got opera and symphony backed by I wouldn't say the guitars. I wouldn't say the music is thrash metal. The vocals are definitely power metal. I don't know, but I wouldn't say. I don't know if I would say that the music is power metal. So it's kind of a mix of all sorts of different things. But I mean, it works. in a very strange way. It's kind of like they threw everything in a blender and that this is what they came out with. And it really does work. So I'm going to give it, I didn't really think about rating it, but if I was to rate it, I would probably give it 3.5 horns out of 5 as well. So yeah, I kind of dug it. I wanted to get back into, I had fallen behind on EPs and I had a little bit of time, so I wanted to knock one out. So I did. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 3.5 horns out of 5 for this one.
Yeah. I know there was an EP on here that I wanted to listen to, but I didn't find it, so I'm not sure if it was, it may be a late coming out or something. I don't know. I'm gonna try again.
Could be
midweek when I do the playlist. I've been saving the previous week's list just to see if it winds up coming out in between like this list and the next week's list, so I can add it to the playlist. So
I gotcha.
Maybe that'll happen. I don't know, but
I gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha.
It sounds like somebody's seriously mowing their yard right now, dude.
Outside at your house?
Oh no, it's an airplane. Never mind.
Oh. Don't get me wrong. I would not be the least bit surprised. You got some people who don't know how to, who don't know how to live in a fucking neighborhood. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me in the least. Because you've heard me talk about that guy that used to live across the street from us. He was one of them, but he's no longer living over there. But which is nice. It's been a lot quieter. All right, so looking forward to this coming Friday, June 30th. Still a relatively long list. Leading off, we have a couple of re-releases by 1,000 Mods with Repeated Exposure to and Youth of Dissent. We have Athma with Dust from a Dark Sun. We have Anterope with Amnesia. Astrophyte with 2192. We have Avdagata with The Faceless One. Avulsed with Extraterrestrial Carnage. That's an EP. We have Bastard Noise with Incineration Prayer / Self-Righteous Suicide. Before the Dawn with Stormbringers. Belt-Fed Weapon with Darkened Demise. That's an EP. We have Cash with a self-titled EP. Calico Jack with Isla de la Muerte. Island of the Dead. The Cartographer with the Cold Black. That's an EP. Coffin Mulch with Spectral Intercession. Darren Michael Boyd with G-String Murders. Death Ray Vision with No Mercy from Electric Eyes. Demonized with Abyss Vanguard. That's an EP. Divide and Dissolve with Systemic. Dusk with Spectrums. Dusk Cult with Night Sky. East of the Wall with A Neutral Second. Elwood Stray with Gone with the Flow. Enthrall with Subterranean Movements. That's a re-release. Flavian with Les Chats du Fer. Following the Signs with Conflictions. Gamma with Recordings 1979 to 1982. We have Graf Vitnir with Into the Outer Wilderness. Grave Fields with Tetragrammation. Horse Biter with Highest Stage / Final Misery. Hostilia with Atomic Thunder. That's an EP. The Who with Rumble of Thunder Deluxe Edition. In the Kingdom of Nightmares with Decay / Rebirth. That's an EP. We have Capnus with a self-titled album. We have Canum, I don't know. Visions of a Plague-Ridden Sky. You see what I'm trying to read, right? KHN.
You sounded when you was trying to read that, it reminded me of Adam Sandler trying to read that fucking menu on 51st Dates.
Oh yeah. That's kind of how I felt.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, it's KHNVM. I mean, what the hell is that supposed to be? Did you just put a laugh track behind me? What the fuck was that? Oh God. Lucifixion with Trisect Joys of Pierced Hearts.
I bet it's supposed to be a different letter or something, probably.
It must be. I don't know. Melvins with At the Stake, Atlantic Recordings, 1993 to 1996. Mercy Music with What You Stand to Lose. McLanticule McLanticutely with As Eagles Descend. Mutual Hostility with Inhuman Anguish, Night Legion with Fighter Fall, None with Inevitable, Oceanica with Panta Ray, Offness with Time Held Me Gray and Dying, Auralisk with the Underworld Obscura, Oxblood Forge with Cult of Oblivion, that's an EP, Paroxysmal with Force Feeder, Perished with Side, that's a re-release. Then 4 re-releases from Pestilence, Consuming Impulse, Malleus Maleficarum, Spheres and Testimony of the Ancients, Power of Fear with A Breed Apart, Raven with All Hell's Breaking Loose, Revenge Beast with a self-titled album, Rise Above with For Better or Worse, The River with A Hollow Full of Hope, The Scars of Numa with Woe Begone Raised by Wolves, that's an EP. We have Shattenman with Dia de Muertos, Serpent of Old with Ensemble Under the Dark Sun, Chakra with Invincible, Slow Wake with Falling Fathoms, Spine with Rises, Static Abyss with Aborted Reality, Systemic Violence with Negative Mangle Attitude, or Mangel Attitude, I guess, 10 Ton Mojo with Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul, that's an EP, Throw the Fight with Strange World, Tony Mitchell with Radio Heartbeat, various artists, Budgies Never Turn Your Back on a Friend 50 years later, Virgin Steel with The Passion of Dionysus, Vordona with Quadrivium, War for War with Sisti Galanit, and let's see, we have Web, Deadly Sins and Virtues, and Exo Armor with Nubler. So that is the list for this coming Friday, June 30th, 2023.
You know, when you go to shocker shows, they throw devil horns like this.
Right.
I know two albums I'm not going to be listening to because I don't want to try to. I don't want to try to pronounce that shit.
Hell no.
Well, I mean, I might listen to it, but I'm definitely not doing the review because I don't want to try to pronounce it either.
Hell no, man.
Oh man.
Well, the funny thing is like a couple like those two band names that I had a hard time pronouncing. There were almost no vowels in any of them. They're all fucking consonants.
Oh God.
I know.
Damn, they didn't buy a vowel from Pat, I guess so.
They did not.
Pat leaves Wheel of Fortune and everybody leaves their vowels out. So
that's right. Yeah. Jesus. But yeah, man. I mean, that wraps it up. It put a bow on this bitch.
All right. Well,
yeah. I mean, there's nothing that says we got to go 2.5 hours every week. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just wasn't as much content this week as there usually is either. So,
well, that's fine. You know,
it is what it is.
That's totally fine.
We can only report on what they report. So.
That's true. That's very true.
You know, some of their shit ain't worth reporting, but you know, whatever.
Also true.
Anyway, that will put a bow on this one, I guess. And,
yep.
So, again, the merch store at www.metalheadsuniteusa.com. You can get some beer.
StreamYard of all times for you to have a fit. Yeah. Well, there we go. He just froze up and bailed out. Oh, wait, there he is. Maybe. I don't know. Well, until he comes back, he was probably trying to tell you guys that you can check out the new merch store over at metalheadsuniteusa.com. And speaking of Metalheads Unite USA, that is our Gmail address, metalheadsuniteusa@gmail.com. If you want to send us a message, drop us a line, do whatever. If you want to get a request in for the radio station, you could do that over there. The radio station URL is also in the ticker at the bottom of the screen, as well as the merch store. Come on over to Facebook and send us a membership request. We'll get you guys hooked up with that. Follow along, follow along with us on all of our socials. Just talked about the Facebook group. We've got our YouTube channel. We have Twitter. We have Twitch. Twitter, we don't really do much with, to be completely honest with you. Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble. I can't even remember how many others we have. I think that may be it. I don't know. We've got so many things we the two of us, we try to keep up with during the week. So plenty of places to follow us. Check out the radio station. Check out the merch store.
Yep, and show your support. So,
absolutely.
Just like a band, buy merch, so support. So.
That's right. and like I say, if you guys got a couple of dollars to help Andy and to help Hidden Intent with some of the costs they've incurred with medical bills and touring costs, respectively, go over to GoFundMe and help those guys out.
All right, I guess we will wrap that up. Thank you guys for joining us this week. Hopefully, you can join us again next week. And we're still working on getting some more interviews set up. So hopefully that's going to be something that we're going to get back in the next few weeks. Honestly, probably be after the 4th. I don't see us see many people doing much until after that. But,
And if that's the case, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, we're already at as many people this year as we did all year last year. So,
yep.
If we're increasing, then we're doing going in the right direction. So that's all we can ask. Is keep us going in the right direction. So,
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All right. We will wrap this one up, and we will see you back here next week, hopefully. Until then, keep those horns held high. Jump in that pit anytime you can.
Have a great week, guys. Thank you.